Well, greetings to you. I was musing again the other day, as old men do, on the subject of diversity and discrimination, so on and so forth. And it throws up a number of issues, does it not? Certainly one might argue that discrimination is a good thing and we use it in everyday life. We discriminate on what shops we go to, how much we're prepared to pay for something, whether we're not being offered a new job, whether to do that, whether the extra pay is worth the upheaval, so on and so forth. When we propose to get married, we discriminate, don't we? We like that girl above that girl for one reason or another, and we decide to pop the question. So it's discriminate. We discriminate all the time. And yet discrimination has been suggested it's a naughty word, it's a dirty word, and we shouldn't do it. And they've even brought in laws against discrimination on the grounds of gender or race. Now, what is interesting is that those laws are fairly straightforward laws, actually, if you think about them. So, for example, you can't discriminate because somebody's got a black skin or a white skin or a yellow skin, so on and so forth. That's what the law actually says, if you check it out. But of course, it only applies to certain circumstances, it appears. So it's a fairly subjective judgment. It's not a judgment of law. So the chief executive of Aviva, for example, is quite open about the fact that she does not promote white people above a certain rank without her special approval. So one would argue that that would be discrimination and illegal. And can you imagine, and I was a chief executive myself many years ago of an institution and a company, if I had said, I will not promote any black people above a certain grade unless it's come across my desk and I want to give it the okay. By gum would I be in hot water. Or if I were to say something along the lines, I think we need 30%, at least 30% of our employees should be ethnic minorities or women or anything else to discriminate in that way. It would be illegal. But it's not illegal if the chief executive, of course, as I mentioned in an article I wrote the other day, Lloyd's of London, he's actually gone now, John Neal, seems a nice enough sort of chap, but he wanted to discriminate. He wanted to make sure that at least 30% of people working for Lloyd's of London were female. Now, I would argue that the way to promote people is on meritocracy. It's meritocracy. We have several government-run institutions where they quite deliberately expand the number of ethnic employees that they have over and above actually the national average. So there's 3 or 4% ethnic minorities or 5% ethnic minorities. They don't say we ought to have 5% ethnic minorities, which is not an unreasonable point of view, although I'm still a meritocrat. They actually drift into something like 20%. And TV adverts, for example, if you're an actor now, you're much more likely to get a job in TV commercials if you are black or another ethnic minority. Now, in the private sector, I believe as a libertarian, you should be able to do that. It's my company. If I want everybody on my board to be black, white or yellow, whatever it is, so be it. That's what I believe. I believe in meritocracy and I believe it's none of the government's business. But if the government are going to interfere, if the government are going to say you can't do this and you can't do that and you can't do all the other, they've got to be consistent. Otherwise, the law is inconsistent and it makes the law an ass. So I think if we had a free press, they should take these people to task. The misogynists who say that we ought to have 20% or 30% women in the organisation, that's misogyny. That is a suggestion, quite blunt suggestion, that a woman can't make it on her own. She needs some sort of quota to help her, which I think is broadly pretty insulting. And my wife's a professional woman and she's a meritocrat. She got to be top of her profession and she's an author on various things. She got there for the simple reason she's bloody good at what she does. And I know lots of professional women who are bloody good at what they do and are horrified if anybody would think that they got promoted because they happened to wear a pair of knickers or a bra. I've never heard anything quite so stupid. But it goes on all the time. So I put it to the powers that be. Diversity and discrimination are either going to be allowed or not allowed if you're going to make the law. You can't arse about one way or the other. Let's keep it consistent. Personally, let's have no law about it at all. and we can all employ whomsoever we wish. Why not? As most of you know, my work is very heavily independently research based. And I get my information from all over the world. It would help if you press the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, because the more subscribers I have, the more likely it is that international independent research institutes will share their material with me. It's most helpful, and then of course I automatically share it with you. So, surprise, won't cost you anything. Thank you very much.